Yes, yes. This one is that one. Those two are those. This one comes in here, which is that one. And then this one goes in there like that, you see. So you've got that and that, and then that's tight. And then this one almost encloses it. That's it. Ooh. This was one block, and then it was sawn through on a huge circular saw, diamond saw, in an industrial plant, and so that one fits that one perfectly. There's just, actually it doesn't fit perfectly because there's the thickness of the saw to take out of it. I must remember that. Oh, this is the most difficult one in a way because it doesn't have a flat bottom to it. But then it's not sitting on a flat surface, so it's a negotiations. I quite like the way that the stones are sort of found shapes, and there's a certain amount of loose geometry in this one, and it gets tighter as you go up the range of pieces. It's deliberately that way. This is almost kind of slightly exploded kind of stones, flat surfaces, rough surfaces, so I'm pleased. It's looking better than I've ever seen it, actually. These are all Scottish stones. They're all granites, of course. I like the fact that you've got all the natural staining on the outside of the stone, so you've got deposits of pink and ochre and grey. Inside it's very clean, on the outside it's as nature left it. The piece closest to the road is both precise and, you might say, arbitrary. The stones have their own natural shape, but within that there are saw cuts, and the saw cuts themselves have to be precise. They have to link together to form planes that run from one stone to another. The whole idea is that within a sort of craggy exterior series of forms, you suddenly discover that there is an inner order, and that is then followed up by other pieces where the inner order is more emphatic and the exterior shape is also organized. We're now seeing this piece here, which is, they're all sanctuaries, but this is the first of the sanctuaries. These three sanctuaries, this one and the very geometric piece and the assembled sort of masonry piece, they are together called a settlement. That's the name for this work in this courtyard. And they range from a very informal, if you like, quite natural cluster of rocks with very precise sawn interior, to a very finely worked geometric drum, which has a hand-picked cubic interior. So somebody's been in there and hacked it out to create that sort of cavity of a cube inside an otherwise containing drum. And the third piece is two stones, actually. It's Portland stone for one course and granite below. And the upper course has many, many little fossils in it. So that has a sort of an animal life in it, whereas these have mineral life because there's never been any animal activity near these. Beyond the three larger works are two flat pieces, which are almost like landscapes in themselves. If you look flat down on them, they're only that thick off the ground, and they have a sort of protected area, a circular area cut out within a very rough stone. And one has the quarry bars in it, and one has drill holes in it. They have certain history in the stone and certain sort of narrative of what I've done to them and made in that history. I do find that people often come back with all sorts of responses that I hadn't quite, I wouldn't have expected, but very often they're very appropriate. But I suppose in a way, I am sort of charging a situation, I'm setting up an opportunity for things to happen. I quite like the fact that I'm setting up potential rather than necessarily directing people to one conclusion, you know. And beyond the stones, you can see Sir Joshua being buffed. This is the Octagon. It's the first gallery when you come into the summer exhibition. It's an 8-sided gallery with 4 doors in it. And it was my job to organise the work that was going into it. And this year it's all sculpture. You can hear a lot of hammering and bashing because we first of all hang all the work and going around and cataloguing and so on. So that's the stage we're at. My 2 pieces in there, one of them uses reclaimed stones which have a very strong industrial identity. Stones from a quayside in Fife. But I've cut out the centrepiece and honed that into a very high finish so that it creates a space that you feel you might like to go into. The other stone is a piece of bedrock. It's a piece of gneiss, and it's a very, very old stone because it's been a granite mountain that's been ground down into granite dust and then reformed to create a sort of stratified stone. And I've cut a circle into it which reveals the inner life of the stone. So it's rather different from the sanctuaries, but it still has a special space within what is otherwise an untouched piece of nature. The piece leaning against the wall, I thought that would be an interesting work to have here, because it's a foil to the massiveness of the other pieces, and it's also very refined. I did a series of incised wall panels based on patterns of pavement and mosaic work at Westminster Abbey. This one was relating to the pavement of the shrine of St Edmund, but it's not enough to just have something which is a sort of reference to something else. It's only of value to me if it sort of takes on a life of its own and becomes something else. And I think that's what's happened here. I brought these pieces here to take part in the summer exhibition, but it also is an opportunity to have work inside and work outside and to relate the 2 together.